everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. There is quite some anticipation on what they've done with this one. This is because the series hasn't seen a new game outside of mobile phone games or remakes since 2010. So let's take a look at the gameplay and find out. The gameplay of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is that of a Metroidvania, a genre inspired, as the name suggests, by what the 2D Metroid and Castlevania games have done. Specifically, there's a lot of backtracking for secrets, or for simply the pathway forward, that is likely blocked off until you get a certain upgrade that unlocks it for you. This formula is done plenty, and by now is perfected. So what does Prince of Persia bring to the table that is new or exciting? That is where the combat comes in. The combat involves using your upgrades, but you start off with your bread and butter, 2 swords that you can combo together with your other skills and abilities. Together, that makes for a pretty satisfying experience fighting enemies, though don't expect them to go easy on you. But how about the story? The story has you playing as Sargon, one of the immortals of the Persian Empire. Sargon was taken in by Anahita as an orphan to be trained to the position he is in now. The game starts off on a battlefield between the Persian Empire and the invading Kushan army at the city of Persepolis. The immortals sweep in and turn the tide of battle. However, after Sargon is celebrated by the queen for his defeat of the Kushan general, Prince Ghassan is kidnapped by none other than Anahita, a betrayal. The immortals are then sent to pursue and retrieve the prince, and are led to the mysterious Mount Kath, which is where the real game starts. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? Call Jake Gyllenhaal, because Prince of Persia is back in 2024, no less.
Yeah, why the hell is he out there filming for Roadhouse? We need you here.
Yeah.
Where's my DLC? If we can get a free DLC of the Joker coming for the Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, where in the world is Jake Gyllenhaal? Where's the real protest? Where's the real rage?
I gotta make some calls. We gotta make it happen right now. But no, really, this game came out of nowhere, honestly, a little bit, considering I don't think anyone was expecting them to go back to this series. They've only really been doing mobile games for the longest time now. And I mean, I know they did a remake a while back, but it's a remake. You know how we feel about that. It's just, it's a little lazy a little bit, you know?
Big time.
At the end of the day, this game is really good at delivering you a good experience that is a Metroidvania. And it truly is a real Metroidvania in every sense of the way. You got all the backtracking, you got great combat that keeps you engaged. I think that this game really did take a lot of cues from a game like Metroid Dread, which came out a couple years ago, where there's a parry system, and that keeps you already really engaged whenever you're coming across an enemy, because you're waiting for them to attack, and when they attack, you have something to counter them with. And I really enjoyed that mechanic in Metroid Dread, and I really enjoyed it in this one as well. But we got a person here who has some choice words every time that we're talking about a 2D
you're gonna go
game.
There. Are you coming after me now?
I'm curious. What do you think about this, Chris?
Okay, I'll let you know, because people, I thought this was a 2D game. But now, reading even more information about the game, they're calling it a 2.5D game. We're getting very creative with how we're describing these games. Because maybe I'm not so much of a hater for 2.5D after all. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But then again, I don't know about you, Henrik. I think it's kind of crazy that this game's worth $50. But then again, there's Mario, right? They get away with it. But you do have to kind of celebrate Prince of Persia for being a game that's been around since 2003 and has, with this game, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, has over 25 hours of gameplay. To put that into perspective, it has roughly 10 hours more gameplay than Assassin's Creed Mirage, the same studio. So that is mind-boggling to begin with. And I thought that was an excellent point that you brought up with the whole parry ordeal, because there's not really much of a blocking mechanic, but the parry is a really, really cool thing. I love fighting the smaller enemies where you get to even kick them up in the air, beat their ass, and then bring them down. And then when you got to go after some of these larger enemies or even the bosses, you definitely got to try to evade those blows, because they're going to be coming after you big time. I don't know if anybody saw Asmongold playing the game. He's like, oh my God, slamming his head on the microphone. This definitely does bring out the rage in everybody. but I don't know how you feel when it comes to the story of the game, HenricK, but kind of came across a little slow in the beginning. But once you get in, it's pretty dope.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a slow burn for sure, considering there's no indication that they're going to bring in any time mechanics or anything like that at the beginning of the game. I actually thought, oh, okay, they're just going to, do more of this and not really try to hark back to any of the previous games in their mechanics of time travel and time shenanigans, all that sort of thing. And then you get to Mount Cath, and you start to see some weird things going on, like the soldiers that you were chasing, they're skeletons now. And you're like, oh, okay, so they are doing some time shenanigans in this one as well. You even get some powers, just like the previous games have done as well.
Yeah.
So I think that while it, may be seen as lazy to some people to bring back old mechanics, I think it's a good choice for them to do that because probably a lot of the people playing this game haven't played the previous Prince of Persia games.
That's a good point too, and I think maybe Ubisoft was probably had this in the back of their arsenal for the longest time and was just kind of waiting for like the perfect moment to really try to rejuvenate Prince of Persia. The one thing I will definitely give this game a lot of credit is thank the Lord it didn't become an open world game. Too many open world games. I'm sick and tired of all of them. I want a linear experience where it focuses on the story, and this is what it brings for you. I'm not going to get too much into the story details because I want you, the gamers, to have a lot of fun and explore it on your own, but man, once you start to figure out some of the secrets of the throne and even the prince's lineage, you're gonna get hooked. It's a lot of fun. Absolutely. As much as I'm not usually into this whole kind of 2D ride, the price tag is a bit much for me, but if it does come down in sales, you're definitely going to want to gravitate around this game. For me, I'm calling it a repeat. You're going to have a lot of fun with this, even with 25 hours worth of fun. It's a jam-packed ride and essentially kind of fun for the whole entire family.
That's actually a little bit of a shock to me. I thought you were going to say that it was a pause, mostly because of the price, because I do think it is a game that the majority of people, when they look at that price,
I'm trying to throw that off.
It's the same thing that happened. Yeah, it's the same thing that happened with Metroid Dread, bringing that up again. Everyone was looking at the price tag and was like, I don't know if we can really justify this game being the style that it is to be that pricing. I think that's a whole different conversation to be had in terms of pricing out games, because the price keeps going up every year.
Yeah,
it feels like. But I think that the majority of people are going to look at this game and say, $50, maybe I'll wait for a sale. But I will say, when that sale comes
and you
should
buy
jump on this game,
you're gonna get hooked.
Because it definitely is a repeat for me as well.
Yeah, just avoid all the whole pricing talks. Yeah, it's outlandish. Yeah, it needs to definitely go down. But the overall gaming experience is super, super killer. And yes, I guess the only thing I'll harp on is like, there's no Jake Gyllenhaal. I know. We really wanted to see him back. But
a great feature that I think that they added for this game that the Metroidvania genre in general needed. And a lot of people are memeing about it, like, oh, wow, you guys made a screenshot feature where you can put a little marker on your map. And because they were trying to make it as like, oh, this is a revolutionary thing that we had to put so much time and effort into doing.
Right.
I think it's actually really good. It's a good feature to have, and not really that many Metroidvanias have even tried to do something in that level of let's make a way for the player to mark with a screenshot without them doing it themselves on where this thing is and what exactly it is. Other games, they just let you make little markers, and you have to just remember based on the marker what it is.
Hey, some people appreciate the tiny little things like HenricK. Me personally, I probably would never use that feature. But hey, you never know. We're all different gamers. We all have different vibes when it comes to approaching these kind of style of games. But the thing that we need to hear, though, HenricK, I don't know if I quite heard it. Was it a pause or a repeat for yourself?
It's a repeat for me as well.
All right. Hey, well, you heard the verdict.